I think it's one of your videos. You're talking about objects.
Oh, yes. Objects, yes.
Yeah, but what I'm interested in is not objects you desire, but more just like physical objects which you see in your field of experience. And you sort of talk about that as samsara. I think, yeah, you do talk about that as samsara. So, and it ties in a little bit with the text that you were talking about earlier. I read a little bit at the beginning of that. And then one of the key points right at the very beginning is understanding that things aren't real. So understanding that things aren't real. So that whole area of understanding that things aren't real, the physicality of objects, and then what you were saying. So let's say I got a piece of wood here in front of me, and maybe this isn't what you meant, but I kind of thought that this was, if I have this piece of wood in front of me, that piece of wood is samsara from my ego, for me, and yes. Equivalent for anybody else with whatever is in front of them. So so what I find interesting is that you know, that's in my field of experience, this piece of wood or other physical objects, and they feel real.
Yeah.
So they're in my field. They feel real, and they have this solidity. They have this continuity, and they don't feel like part of my ego.
Yes.
But they just don't feel like it, and I can't get my head around how they could be part of the ego's, an extension in some kind of way, the ego, given the fact that the ego seems to move quickly and rapidly, and these things just seem to be slow or stationary and such. Do you know what I mean? So solid.
I do. Yes. Yes.
And very substantial. So.
Yes. So traditionally, and with good reason, this type of teaching was only taught when you're on phase 3 of the journey. So if you have a lot of tamasic energy in you, if you have a lot of negative stuff that you'll still have to deal with, it may not be helpful to hear these teachings. It may actually be dangerous. You know, if you've got severe mental health issues, let's say, and then you start to hear that, you know, everything you see is actually not real, or is just a projection of your ego or projection of mind, then this can be very destabilizing. So normally we don't tend to teach these teachings unless somebody's interested in self-inquiry, someone's interested in liberation. If they're interested in becoming happier as a person, that's part 1 of that journey from tamas to rajas, you see, then let them concentrate on that. Let them think the world is real, or whatever paradigm they want to operate in, and let them do that. You see, if they want to become more peaceful, then let them become more peaceful. Let them not worry about non-duality. You see, consider yourself to be a body-mind and become more peaceful. Be happy. When you're peaceful and happy, and then you realize this also is not satisfactory, then there's a desire for liberation, desire for transcendence, or to go beyond everything. And this is when we start to become really interested in self-inquiry. This is when the passion for subjectivity, or the self, really, really comes into its own. Again, just as a caveat, there may be people who go straight for self-inquiry as well. So these are just general schemes I'm giving, a general schema of things, a general framework that may or may not apply to everyone. Okay. When you start to do self-inquiry, you start to discover things about the fabric of reality. When you start to go towards the subject, you start to discover things that before you didn't know. Just like if you look anywhere, if you've never looked outside your house before and you start to look outside your house, you start to discover things that you've never seen before because you're looking somewhere you've never looked before. Similarly, when we turn within, we start to discover things. We start to discover how this entire world, this entire universe is actually made up of thought or intention or desire. Intention and desire being a type of thought, yeah? Or the energy of intention, the energy of desire. Actually creates everything we sense, perceive, see, taste, touch, etc., etc. Yeah. You don't have to get your head around it. You don't have to believe it. You just have to go on the spiritual journey, depending where you're at. When you get to this point, you start to turn within, then this teaching will start to make sense. Until then, it's not going to make much sense. Or if it does make sense, it doesn't really make a difference. So it's not something we necessarily need to grapple with. We just need to, at some point, we can listen to Bhagawan's teachings and have faith in him. He has no reason to deceive us. He's just sharing his knowledge with us. He tells us this is the way. If we have faith, we may not, but if we have faith in him, we can take him at his word. This will help us with our self-inquiry. In terms of actually understanding this teaching, the simplest metaphor is a dream. The fact that we have a dream is a blessing. I was speaking to somebody, I think it was yesterday, the day before yesterday, I think it was, and they told me about this dream they had. They said they had a dream, and I think something negative was happening in the dream. Not majorly negative, but something bad was happening in the dream. You know, like, I don't know, something, they were at work and something was going wrong at work, you know, and they started to feel, oh no, something's going wrong. This kind of feeling, yeah, in their dream. And in the dream, they had the thought, oh, this could be a dream, right? And so they started to pinch themselves and started to, and they didn't wake up. So within the dream, they had the thought, oh my gosh, this is real. This is definitely not a dream. Because I'm pinching myself, I'm doing all the tests to make sure it's not a dream, and it's not a dream, it's real. And then they woke up sometime later. And what it just shows is, oh my gosh, these dreams seem so real. Everything you described, John, the solidity, the stationariness of certain objects, the moving nature of the thoughts in the dream. See, we use the word mind in these teachings. I use the word mind and ego in sort of two different ways. Mind can mean just the thoughts that appear to us, right? Just the thinking and that kind of thing in the head, let's say, yeah? And ego can just be maybe an aspect of that, right? That's one use of mind or ego. The other way the word is used is to mean mind is that which creates or projects this entire manifestation, this entire universe. It's actually the source of the universe. It's Maya. Maya is equated with mind. Ego is equated with Maya, which is equated with the creator of the universe. So everything you see, you know, if you're looking, you know, everything you can see, whether it's a person or whether you can see like this sofa and this cushion behind me, this is all mind stuff. This is all a projection of ego. Everything you see is just ego, mind. Like in a dream, when you're having a dream, everything you see is a projection of your consciousness. And it's a projection of your own thought processes. You know, if you're thinking about a certain topic, maybe you'll dream about that topic. You know, if you're thinking a lot about apples during the day, you have a dream, maybe you'll dream about apples, you know? So thoughts project the reality. And this is the way it works in this life as well. And we come to discover this through various ways, actually. There are various ways we can start to intuit this and discover this. But it relies on us to actually come to our intuition usually and come out of the head. Again, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. If you just open to your heart's desire, your heart's intuition, it will just guide you in all this stuff. And this will just come to you when you need it. When you need the teachings on, on whether everything's ego or not, they will just miraculously appear to you. And when you need the teachings on self-inquiry, they'll just appear to you. And when you need a teacher, the teacher will come. And when you need to be without a teacher, the teacher will go, And that only works because everything's actually a projection of the mind. Because there's only one, and we're doing the whole thing. Everything is just us doing it all. God is just creating everything, and we are God. I am that. I am the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. That is I. This is the revelatory and revolutionary teaching of the Upanishads. And I think what Jesus may have been trying to get at too. But obviously, in his culture, in the culture he was operating in, it was blasphemous to say this. So people used to hurl objects at him when he spoke in this way. What do you think about that answer, John?
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm very happy with that answer.
What I'd say though, this is not about accumulating understanding in the mind. That may be a part of the journey. And if you're drawn to doing that, then that's great. I did that for a long time as well. It's much simpler than that, much deeper than that, much more satisfying than that. This real spiritual journey is non-intellectual. So if someone refuses to believe that the world is an illusion projected by mind or ego, that's fine. Let them. Everyone has their own way to this. There's a text called, what's it called? Sri Ramana Paravidyopanishad. Sri Ramana Paravidyopanishad. And it was written again by Lakshman Salma, who wrote Guru Ramana Vachana Mala. And in this Paravidyopanishad, Vidya means knowledge. Para means kind of, in this context, the great or the transcendent knowledge or supreme knowledge. So Paravidya means the supreme knowledge. Vidya also means science. So, because the word science and the word knowledge are essentially etymologically the same word. The word science comes from the Latin word for knowledge. So Paravidya means the great knowledge or the great science. Paravidyopanishad just means it's an Upanishad. And Sri Ramana Paravidyopanishad is the name of the text. It's the great science or the great knowledge as told by Bhagavan Sri Ramana. And again, it's a summary of Ramana's teachings. And right at the beginning, it tells us how the world is all an illusion. And then there are a series of verses, I think, if I recall correctly, maybe a couple of verses that say, and if you don't believe it's an illusion, it doesn't matter. You just follow the path and it'll all come clear anyway. So whether you agree that this is an illusion or you don't, it doesn't really matter ultimately. So we shouldn't fret too much about these things. And we should do what feels right for us. If that teaching feels right for us, then we should pursue it and adopt it. And if it doesn't feel right for us, that's fine. We follow our own way and it will all come right in the end. So my urging to you is just to relax and surrender. Be happy. And this is it. Get on the flow. Feel the spirit, feel that spirituality, that spirit in your daily life, and it will take you where you need to go.
Thank you. Thanks, Sam.
Welcome. Thanks, John.